Hi, I'm Christian Herr with the Tar Grove South Neighborhood Association Steering Committee. We're going to start the meeting.
And I'm tired of being nice.
I'd like to mention that we have a new member on our steering committee, Sue Schmitz, who's working the sign-in table. Please give her a warm welcome. You know, we're pretty dusty around here. And there's a sign-in sheet that MSD brought that's going around. If you would sign it, and when you're finished, when it makes the rounds, just if someone could hand it back to me, that would be great. We're going to start the meeting. You know, the agenda tonight is with MSD and the contractor that's working on the block on Utah, on 4041, and just a little bit of 42 that includes McDonald Park, but they're going to talk about that. So with us this evening, Greg Rubman, MSD, Kelly Kinder from MSD, and John Kearns is the contractor, and Greg's going to speak first. Okay.
First, I want to thank you folks for inviting us to your meeting. We like to have the opportunity to tell you about our projects, and hopefully what we say here tonight will be helpful to you. As Christian already said, my name's Greg Rubman, and I wear my badge because I wouldn't know my own name if I didn't wear it. And this is Kelly Kinder and John Kearns with Gershenson Construction Company. Before we start, I'm just going to ask you to pass these around. And there's no need, if you need some pens, these are, we call evaluation sheets. And when we attend these, we like to pass them around. No obligation, but if you can fill them out and would be kind enough to fill them out and turn them in at the end of the meeting, then we know how well we did and where we can improve and so on and so forth. That, you know, next time we have a meeting, hopefully we do a little better. But anyway, just wanted to cover my stuff up. Okay. This project is really being built to relieve overcharged sewers in the area. And when they're overcharged, things happen that people don't like. There's street and yard flooding, and there's basement backups and things like that. This project is intended to alleviate a great deal of those problems. And the reason I say a great deal is you all know this spring and early summer we've had some hellacious rainfalls. And there is no sewer system in any part of the country that can take care of a 4 to 7 inch rain that occurs in a single day. So, but I mean, what we call our 20-year storm, that's a storm that's supposed to occur once every 20 years. These sewers are designed to handle that kind of situation, okay? So, tomorrow we'll have a 21-year storm, but anyway. So, that, and then, as you've already seen by the construction that's taking place here, construction does cause inconvenience. Obviously, we're digging a hole in the ground, in the streets in this case, okay? And whenever you dig a hole in the ground, that means your traffic lanes are narrow, and you know, you've got rock going back in the trench after the pipe is installed, and so you've got a rock surface that you got to drive on until it's time that the contractor can get around to doing the necessary paving. And so, Kelly and John will get more into that kind of detail as to what goes on there. I just want to have that. Just want to say that both MSD and Gershenson want to work as cooperatively with all the people in this neighborhood as is humanly possible. And we will try to do our very best to get answers to your questions. To be very honest, we can't always answer all your complaints as like, why is there a hole still in front of my house? Well, you know, as I said, there's inconveniences. If, you know, if an opening stays there for a prolonged time, then obviously we can answer that. But I mean, you know, just on a temporary basis, they're going up the street, the hole's gonna be there for a while. You know, and when I say a while, maybe a day or a day and a half, something like that max, something like that, before they can rock it back in. So those are the things. And during the meeting, we'll ask that you not ask any questions whatsoever, but wait until after the meeting. And then after the meeting, we will open the meeting up to general questions. And when I say general questions, it's anything at all that you have about this project you would like to know. We refrain from specific questions, and by that I mean about my piece of property over here or your piece of property over there. Because we don't want to get in a one-on-one conversation with one or two people while the rest of the people are saying, wait a minute, I don't care about what's in front of their house, I want to know about what's in front of mine. So after the general question and the rest of the meeting's over, we have a couple sets of plans up here that will stay around after the meeting, and if you want to come up and talk to us on a one-on-one basis, we can answer your question about what's going on specifically in front of your house or the next door house. So please wait until after the meeting, and then we'll open it up to general questions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kelly Kimber.
Okay, I'm Kelly Kinder. I'm with MSD. I'm the project manager. And let me give you my phone number real quick. Again, my phone number is 314-768-2730. That's 314-768-2730.
Can you speak up a little, please?
The project's going to consist of about 4,100 feet of storm sewers ranging in size from 12-inch to 84-inch, with depths varying from 4 feet to 15 feet. The project cost is about $2,365,000. On my right, I have a map showing where the sewer is going to be installed, and as you can see, will primarily affect between Utah and Roger Place and Benton Avenue. Benton Avenue between Wyoming and McDonald, and Oak Hill from Wyoming to McDonald. Each day, an inspector that works for me will be out here on the site when the contractor's working. He will be wearing usually either an MSD shirt or a baseball cap that identifies him as the MSD inspector. The inspector's name out here is Chuck Lowe, and you can reach him at 314-565-5945. That's his cell number. And since Chuck has several projects to inspect, he has several other jobs, he will be on the site as much as he can, but he will be leaving every once in a while to check those other jobs. The other jobs are, we try to keep the inspectors' jobs as close to one another to prevent, to get over there as soon as they can if a issue does arise. As Greg mentioned, the street excavation reduces availability on the street with reducing traffic flow. But as soon as the pipe is installed in the trench, Gershenson will be backfilling the trench with rock, thus making the full street width available again. As the rock settles, Gershenson will add additional rock to the trench, but for small depressions, it may be several days before Gershenson can have a crew available to refill the trench. And again, after the meeting, Gershenson and MSD will be available to discuss any concerns that you may have. You need me to repeat the inspector's phone number?
What was your name, sir?
I'm Kelly.
Kelly. And you're with?
MSD. Okay, if there's nothing else I got, I'll turn it over to Mr. John Kearns.
Hello everyone, thanks for coming out today. I'm sure you're all aware there's construction going on in Utah, Roger. It's going to go up to Bent, and the gas company, the water company, and Gershenson are all working in the same area, so it's been pretty tight. So we appreciate your patience. There's been a lot of work going on. Can you guys hear me?
No.
We appreciate your patience because I know there's been a lot of truck traffic and it's been loud, and so we're thankful that you're working with us as we try to get this project completed. As of right now, we are finishing up our work The work, this is Utah right here, Oak Hill, continuing up Utah, and Bent Avenue. We're finished with the majority of the construction from Roger up to here, and we have to do some pavement restoration work in this area. As of today, Roger was reopened. There is now one lane open, which we really intend on keeping one lane open from here on out. This coming week, we'll close up the intersection of Oak Hill, louder. This week, we'll close the intersection of Oak Hill and Utah. It'll probably be closed on and off for the upcoming months.
Months?
The gas company has a lot of work to do in there. I should have brought my microphone. Well, you all know where the intersection of Oak Hill and Utah is. Yes.
I'm on the corner.
Okay, so this coming week, we're going to finish up the water main work, and we'll have to close the intersection to do that. But in the meantime, we've opened up one lane down on Roger. So there's not a complete bottleneck, it'll just be a nuisance, but there's a way in and out. When we're done with the water work, we'll come in and do the sewer work, which will probably take about 3 to 4 weeks. Then we will begin working up Utah, turning the site over to the gas company, who has to do a tremendous amount of main reconnections and distribution system reconnections. So there's just a lot of work to be done still. We're maybe not even a third of the way there yet, so.
2013.
No, it won't go that far. We hope to be done and paving the project in the month of October and November, including sidewalks and streets and everything else.
How about trees?
There will be trees planted. Anyone that lost a tree is going to get a tree back. I'm working with the city forestry department to get trees planted. So,
You don't have to plant none by my house.
yeah.
Can you repeat the time frame of which street will be closed when?
This coming week, Oak Hill and Utah will be closed for on and off for the next couple months.
Going both ways?
The whole intersection.
Like it was on Utah and Roger.
Right, yeah, well, no, you could actually drive down.
Go
No,
up
but
Utah.
at first we
Yeah.
Where do we park?
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna take up all the parking spaces, and there'll be plenty of signage set out days ahead of time, so everybody knows what's gonna happen, all right? The foreman will do a good job setting out the signs. On such and such a date, please don't park here.
Now, in the 4000 block of Utah, you guys had no problem taking up the entire side of the street, eliminate parking. Has that changed now?
I don't recall us taking up the whole street.
During the entire fourth
Well,
holiday,
actually,
you
we're-
guys roped off the entire side of the street.
I don't recall that.
Sure you
Actually, we're not taking questions yet. I'll meet with you at the end of the meeting.
don't. Okay.
So it's our intention to leave you with as many parking spaces as we possibly can during the construction, and the signs will be out to let you know ahead of time.
So was it, sorry, I know this is not really a question, but if the intersection is closed and it's a one-way street,
I already contacted the city when we talked about the traffic control plan for this area, and I mentioned removing the one-way signs and changing it to two-way, and the city said they didn't want to do that, just for the interim. For the duration of the project, they didn't want to change the signage. Because we figured that everybody that lives on that street is, no.
We do in a way class after the meeting.
Okay,
and
so
ask
we're
them-
not taking the questions that are
Let's-
related to the project
Let's
like
let
we
them
said
do
in
the
the beginning?
presentation, and
Okay.
then, and we want to be really respectful
My
to our
bad for following
speakers.
the rules.
Thanks. Good job.
That's about all I have, really. I mean, I appreciate your patience. It's been dirty and difficult, I know, and we look forward to getting
I have a
it
question,
done.
this pertains to the way they go about tearing up the street. They use the big fork, come down on the,
We're going to take questions at the end. Greg's going to speak.
it just tears up the, you know.
You're going to have, I'll stand here and talk to you all night long, but right now Greg's going to finish up.
I mean, you do it different than the gas company does.
The gas company is very respectful.
Okay, well, we're gonna just finish up here, and there are just a few things I wanted to say in closing. And number one is, John was talking about Laflette Gas and the St. Louis Water Department, and let me tell you this. On this sewer project, this is obviously a well-established old neighborhood. So there are many, many water and sewer lines that have to be relocated as a part of this project so we can install the sewer. Neither MSD nor Gershenson has any kind of authority over the water company or Laclede Gas, okay? We try to work very close with them and they try to work with us. But if I can't go out and say, Laclede, you're taking too long to get this done, or you're making too big a mess, I don't have any way to do that. With Gershenson, I've got a way. I got a paycheck that they want, okay? But with Laclede and St. Louis Water, I don't, okay? So, that's a, you need to know that there's a lot of other work. And just over here and comment about Laclede and so on, their lines, of course, are much smaller than ours lines. We're talking 12-inch to 84-inch. Okay? That's 7 feet, okay? To get a piece of pipe 7 foot in diameter in the ground, obviously you need a hole that's at least 10 foot wide to get the thing in there.
I'm just talking about the way they go
So,
about.
that obviously we're going to take up more. John has to talk about means and methods of doing things. That's not us. I mean, if anybody here during the project has a complaint and they don't think that Gershenson is answering it in a satisfactory manner, that's why you've got Kelly Kinder's number. You can call him, talk to him, or you can talk to our inspector, Chuck Lowe, okay? And we will get together with Gershenson and talk about it, come out and look at it. Like I say, sometimes there's complaints that just are part of construction and we would explain that there's nothing else that we can do. But if you don't get an answer that you figure satisfactory from Gershenson, you call Kelly or Chuck. We'll get together with Gershenson, and if need be, we'll come and get together with you, and we'll come to what would be hopefully an equitable resolve to the situation. That doesn't mean you're going to like the final answer, because a 10-foot wide hole, 15 feet deep, it's a 12-foot big hole. And we can't solve that. So, at this time, we're going to go ahead and open the meeting to general questions. I'm Greg, that's Kelly, and this is John. And we take them one at a time. Just raise your hand and I'll orchestrate here.
Now, I understand, I heard you guys say you guys are going to replace all the trees and all the grass that was tore up from the concrete and the sidewalks. My question is, between Roger up to Utah, where all the adult trees were tore out, there are also personal property landscaping damage that is done to the homes. Is that going to be fixed? Because I know from Roger all the way up to where we live, there are indentations in people's front lawns from those big metal plates. They threw them down and put the caterpillars on top of them. Or
That really worked good, because
Yeah.
we put those plates on and saved the sidewalk.
Right.
So that after the construction was done, people would have access to their homes, so it really worked
No,
out.
and I
well.
understand that.
Anyone
I
whose sod has been damaged, it will be replaced.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's my
and
question.
I'm going to let John take most of it, but just to answer in part, okay?
Right.
Where there's any indentation or that, they're responsible to grade it back the way it was before, okay? There's, and then, like the sod, well, you can't plant sod now, everybody knows it's just too hot, Now, and the trees, John said they're gonna put the street trees back.
October.
Yeah, in there, okay? And when you mentioned something about personal landscaping or something,
Right.
and if that's within the street right-of-way, the street
No, I mean,
right,
I'm talking up on somebody's lawn. They actually had to put the plates to set the caterpillars.
well, if it's on your
Yes.
property, they are responsible for replacing
All right, that's.
whatever
that's the
damage on your property. If it was in the tree lawn and you might have had a few flowers or bushes there that weren't,
Oh, no, it killed
then,
the bill.
then they're not really responsible if it's within the right of way. Anything, I mean, all this is out in the street right of way. So anything they damage on your property, they are responsible to replace, okay? Now, obviously, if you had a 15-year-old some kind of a tree or another, then, they shouldn't have destroyed that at all. But, but I mean, sometimes, if you got a big bush that was well established, they have to replace it, but they can't obviously replace some things with a fully matured plant. Yes, ma'am.
I think I want this question to go to John. I think you mentioned city forestry.
Yes.
do you have a contact there? Is there any way for neighbors to have any input, create a dialogue about the tree replacements that are chosen and put in the fall?
Pass your name and information to the alderman,
Yeah.
and she and I will work with the city forestry department.
Yeah.
It's a matter of what trees are available this coming season in October to be planted, and I'm open to any number of whatever local trees that are available. You know, we don't want to plant a banana tree or something, but anything that is going to definitely grow, we're willing to, maple, cherry, whatever. So yeah, you can.
More mature, not the little baby ones, but we'll try to see how we can do it better.
Yeah, we'll try to put it like a 2-inch tree. It'll be like 7 or 8 feet tall.
And I might mention that.
How about 4-inch?
I don't know. It's a matter of what's available.
And I will say this, I know this from past experience of working with the city of St. Louis, but their street department, parks and forestry, there are certain kinds of trees they don't like planted in street lawn areas, okay? Because of the root system cracking up the pavement and the sidewalk and stuff, so there's certain kinds of trees they don't like to plant. Yes, ma'am?
I have 2 questions. My only complaint so far with MSD is this morning I go outside and they have their pickup truck on my sidewalk. Now, really there's no reason that they need to park on the sidewalk. We just paid a lot of money to have our sidewalk, and I'm on the corner of Oak Hill and Utah. We just paid for it to be paved all the way on the front and the side. And when they park that truck there, they're not going to see a crack now, but you're going to see it next year after
What corner do you live on?
Southwest. It's a 2-family. That was my other question. I live in a 2-family, and of course these are older homes. Since they've been dropping things out there or putting those plates or whatever they're doing, but this morning it was putting the gigantic pipes out, the cracks in my walls are widening.
Yes, mine too.
And they're
Hang on,
wide.
let's let this lady finish here.
And that was my concern. My insurance company not going to pay for it, they said.
Well, let me just tell you this, okay? If there is damage to your house due to construction, the contractor is required to repair that, okay? Now, first off, one of the big things here, and we get involved in this I won't say quite a bit, but enough that we are aware of it, verification that a crack is a new crack as opposed to an old crack, okay? Or a crack is enlarged or something like that. Sometimes that's a difficult problem, okay? Now, I'll just tell you this. If Gershenson gives you an answer on something like internal damage that you don't like, you can call us. We'll come out and we'll take a look, okay? I don't intend to be an expert on cracking and all that, but I do know if a crack is new as opposed to if it's an old crack. I can tell.
There were cracks. I'm not going to deny that, but they're just getting wider and wider, and I clean up the plaster. I mean, when I got up, they started work at 6 this morning, so with 4.5 hours sleep, I was not too awake. But I was sitting there, and every time they dropped something or one of those plates, the house would shake. I mean, we haven't had an earthquake here that shook the house like that. I mean, it actually shakes it.
I will just say this, okay? And this is true of any construction, sewer construction, okay? Or anytime you're excavating in the ground. There is going to be vibration that you will feel. That's just the nature of the nature of the band. Now, most vibration resulting from trench excavation does not damage a home, and we've had experts that have come and testified to that fact. But now again, if you think it's something, you're talking about it now. If after the meeting you want to come up and talk to Kelly or myself and want us to arrange a meeting out at your house, we'll get with John and we'll look. That's all I can tell you right now. I mean, you're saying something, and I'm not doubting you at all. But I mean,
Well, I'm not going to bring an issue now. I'm going to wait till towards the end of the project.
I say, to be honest with you, now would be the time. you know, at the end of the job, I mean, if I walk in your house now and I see a crack and it's that wide, and at the end of the job I see a crack that's wide, I'm gonna say, oh, yeah.
What was your address, ma'am?
4100 Utah.
But if, you know, if I don't walk in now and I see a crack and it's that wide, I don't know what it was like before.
Well, you guys didn't notify
No, this
us?
gentleman, right, just a minute, this gentleman had his hand up, so
See, I watched this morning the way they operate with the fork. The fork operator is the one that's causing the big booms because he's digging the fork in, he's rocking the thing when it comes up, and when it comes up, it makes a hellacious racket, and the house shakes.
That's what my son saw too.
That's what's happening. Now, the gas company, they take jackhammers, and they jackhammer that line, and then they go about it, and it's less vibration.
John, I'm gonna let you respond to means and methods.
The gas company is installing like a 5x5 work pit, and
I
like Greg said
understand it,
earlier.
but they're still digging a big pit, wide section just like you guys are. There's one right around the corner from me, and they did the same thing, but they didn't go around with their fork and tear it up and rock the fork.
He just kept banging it.
He kept banging it and banging it and banging it because they're in a hurry. I understand that. They're trying to get the pipes in the ground. But I'm just saying that's a way they're working. That's what's doing it.
Do you use union operating engineers like MSD does?
Yes.
I mean, you might not like that response, but that's what's happening. I watched it. I felt it. You
We'll
know.
look into it.
I mean, I don't think
There's
that
no looking
anybody's,
into it. You
and I
can
don't
sit there
think-
and watch it.
I don't
Feel
think,
it. You
I don't
stand
think,
there.
I don't think anybody's denying what you're saying about the way they're removing the pavement and digging the excavation. I don't think anybody, you know, means and methods are up to the contractor. We at MSD do not dictate means and methods because that's why we have multiple contractors bid on all of our prices, and every contractor is going to have a little different way of doing things. But, you know, it doesn't relieve the contractor of any responsibility. And as I said, vibration is going to be normal during any
I
excavation.
understand
It is.
But
We
not
know.
like the way they're going about it.
Well,
That's severe.
okay, John's got your number,
What is your address, sir?
4067.
and he will investigate and talk with you.
Well, I
Now,
mean-
we got, you know, well, I mean,
He's
that's
gonna
all we
dig
can
that-
do.
They're
At this, I
coming
mean,
right around the
tonight,
corner, and it's gonna be more the same tomorrow morning, because at 7:15, it starts.
right.
6 o'clock this morning.
Well, they start moving their equipment.
Well, let's just try to hold it to one question at a time, and I don't want to take too much time with any one individual. But John promised you, he's got your address, he's gonna look into it, you know, and he's gonna get back to you, okay? Again, if you don't like his response, call Kelly. Kelly will get with John, and Kelly and John will come together with you and try to resolve whatever it is. You know, there's some things some things can't be changed. Yes, ma'am.
Why would you have not held a meeting like this ahead of the construction? I feel like the communication during this project has been very poor. I live on the north side of Utah. You say I'm not directly impacted by the construction, although people have entered my house twice. My house shakes regularly. My car is coated in dust. My allergies are worse because of the project. I'm directly impacted, but I didn't even receive a letter informing me of the project about to happen. I think your communication has been very poor and that you've been very disrespectful of our neighborhood.
Well, okay, I'm going to try to answer that in two parts.
Greg, can I answer part of that?
Yeah.
I sent letters out to every home on Utah
No, you did.
between Roger, Oak Hill, and Bent, up and down Bent, up and down Oak Hill, and up and down Roger. I had a guy personally deliver them to the doors. It is possible that somehow or other yours blew away or you didn't get it, but our attempt to communicate with the residents was through that letter. So if you did not receive one, I'm sorry. We tried to get those letters out to everybody, so.
Did anybody receive this?
I got the letter, but it didn't explain what was going on. It said there'll be construction work within your area for months and would require you.
I got a letter that the alderwoman brought to our door.
I got that one.
They taped that up
After
2
the
weeks
project
ago,
had already
2 to
started.
3 weeks ago. She come around and put that on our door. This was already when everything's going on.
That's
This is
right.
after.
Well, let me just try to answer this way. You know, I'm not going to defend everything, okay? I understand, I hear what you're saying. I'll take this back to MSD's office, and we will see if we can't come up with maybe a better way of notifying people. The letter that John sent out to everybody, that letter has gone out before construction over the last 22, 23 years. That's been our official way of notifying people. I guess that's the letter. Let me see. But that has been, and up until now, I have never heard, yes, this is the letter. I have never heard anyone say that, you know, they weren't notified properly. And I'm not saying that as against you or anything else. I mean, I've heard what you said, so I'm going to take that back and see if there isn't a better way that we can get you. I mean, it's in a letter, it's hard to explain a project like this. You know, it's very difficult to try to explain, saying we're going to install 12 to 24 or 84-inch pipe, and it's going to be from, you know, 10 to 15 feet deep, and you know, it's going to take this long and all that. I mean, you know, you get a letter that just go out of hand.
Hey, Greg, I think that we all agree that our goal would be to have this kind of meeting before the project starts. That's our learning moment here. The information that I got was 6 inlets, and we could see it was more complicated. So John was kind enough to meet with me, and I got the project description, that was what was taped to your door. So what I have here, I do have a copy of the letter sent out by MSD, the project summary that John provided that I put on the doors of the 4,000 blocks and sent to the 4,100 blocks and sent them out to listserv. But I think that what we can learn from this is we need to have these types of meetings before the project begins so that people know what to expect. And the summaries that you provided and the agenda that you sent me today was very detailed. It's just that it would have been helpful if we'd had this kind of information at the beginning to kind of pave the way and then work through it.
And we're learning.
And
you
we're
know?
learning.
I mean,
I mean, you know.
Can't you tell us if you're gonna go straight up the middle of the 4,100 block of Utah, are you going to the right, you're going left, are you closing the whole street? Are you just, you know, you can tell us that, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
now, it would be difficult to do that. You know, I don't know how many jobs we run right now a year, but right now, currently going on, okay, right now, I can't give you an exact number, but I know we have 4 people in Kelly's position, okay? I'm just thinking 10, 10, 19, 19, so let's just say that's 20, that's 40. We got close to 60 projects going on right now, okay? Under construction. So, you know, to try to write a letter and explain in great detail it's just almost impossible for us to do. However, somewhat in answer to your question, or trying to do this, okay, by the contract, okay, Gershenson has to keep the streets open to the greatest extent possible. These are larger two-way streets, so there should always be a lane open. Now, when he's digging for his trench, he's not putting the dirt back in the trench that was there. He's putting rock back in there. So when he digs the trench, the earth he digs out, he's got to have a dump truck there so he can load the dump truck. Okay? But the street would always remain open. John was talking about blocking an intersection. I was not aware of that myself until tonight, not that that disturbs me.
Greg, there's a city traffic plan.
But anyway, always I want to say, you know, unless the trench is being excavated in front of your driveway, you will have a way to get in. Oh, well, you don't have driveways, excuse me. Okay, but you.
I have a driveway.
Okay, well then you'll have, except with a trench right there, you have access. And if you don't have a driveway, unless the trench is right in front of your house, you're going to have a place to park right out in front of your house. And at all times, even when they're operating in the middle of the day or early morning, they are required to always have emergency access for police, fire ambulances or anything else of that nature, okay? So, you know, I just don't think that we've forgotten you. We haven't. It's an inconvenience. That's what I tried to say when I started. It's a big inconvenience. And it's not fun. But when this thing gets over, in, what did you say, John? October, November?
We hope to be done in November.
November. He's high hope better higher than mine, but that's all right. When he gets done, I'll get to you, ma'am. When he gets done, they get done, and we get a bigger rain that before was causing you problems, and now isn't causing you problems, you're going to say, maybe it was worth all that inconvenience, okay? Because I don't have to put up with it every time it rains. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry to keep beating the horse, but so do you have a plan so far that since we're all sitting here, maybe you can tell us there is a city traffic plan? Because we've been talking to the folks that have been out there so far, which I'm sure are a mix of, you know, Laclede Gas and maybe some of your guys as well. But we've heard so far that the plan on the 4100 block is to come directly up the center of the street.
That's correct.
Okay, so what he's saying is then there will be, we can drive on both sides of that?
No. I
Utah
have
is
to
only
correct Ray
one.
in that when we're going up the next block of Utah, the street's too narrow for us to have the equipment and the trucks. So the area that we're working in that day, no one will be able to pass by. But I will never close the street on two ends. You'll always have a way in and out. You're not going to get blocked in. That was my agreement with the city street department.
Okay.
And the street was too narrow. They just didn't want to change the one-way signs, and they said they had done that in the past and it caused trouble. So I asked them, they said, no, we don't want to do that.
Yes, but while you're working, the street will be blocked.
During the workday, it is
at the end of the night, you're going to have your equipment out of the way.
moved over to the side, the street backfilled. It's our intention, as much as possible, that that street will get opened up at the end of the day.
So will you, when you're blocking, you know, the concern is, of course, that someone that doesn't live on that street would be driving down the one way, while someone who does live there is driving the wrong way.
Yeah, there'll be people who can't read local traffic only signs. I can't help them.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay. I mean, okay.
I'm not quite sure who was next, but I'm going to take this gentleman back here.
I don't know if you dealt with it before, but what about front sidewalks? Are they being replaced or what?
All damaged walk will be replaced. All walks that were damaged by construction, any damage that Gershenson caused, Gershenson will replace or repair.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a point of clarity on the Utah and the traffic. Didn't you say a little while ago in the meeting that the intersection of Oak Hill and Utah will be closed off for a good time?
Yes, and I won't close Utah and the intersection at the same time. But Gershenson's not going to be the only company working there.
That's right, gas.
The gas company's coming in, and they're doing basically $500,000 worth of work. So it is no minor deal.
I was told today that I'm the last house to be done by the gas company. All the rest of the 4100 block is finished.
That's true, but you'll have gas service. What they're telling you is they're just not going to reconnect the main in front of your home. The good news in all this is the Laclede Gas is supposed to replace and upgrade all of their mains to new plastic, and everybody gets new plastic service. Well, you're on like a 50-year waiting list to have that work done. Well, since this project took place, you're all done. You all have brand new plastic mains, you don't realize that, and everybody has a brand new plastic service coming into their home. So that's one of the upsides to the inconvenience of going through.
There's a lady back here, I know.
Will, you have to live in the neighborhood quite a while. I have. About 5-6 years ago, we had a horrendous amount of rain, and we had 2 to 3 foot of water on Roger. Will this alleviate that problem? I live south of there.
Okay, to answer your question, I would say yes, yes, okay, but I do have to put a little carrot behind there, because as I mentioned earlier, the whole purpose of this was to relieve overcharged sewers, which would help prevent street and yard flooding and basement backups. But this summer, as you know, and MSD has made the news more than once, okay, after heavy rains about flooding. When it rains 4 to 7 inches in a matter of a half a day or something, there isn't a sewer system around here that's going to, or in the world, in the country anyway, that's going to handle it. Our sewers are designed basically for what we call a 20-year rain. It's a rain that it will take a rain that occurs once every 20 years.
And as far as the traffic, I have never seen as many people who must be totally angry with the construction, because I've been hit a couple times trying to drive down McDonald either way.
You've
because
been
people-
hit?
Well, trying to be hit. In other words, they're driving, they come up to an intersection and they suddenly discover they can't go the way they normally do. So they turn around the corner and they're going faster than who knows what.
And
All I
you're
can say
talking
is,
about-
Be careful.
You're talking people that live in the neighborhood here?
Could
Or
go
are
either
you,
way.
well, what I'm bringing up here is obviously I can't control your neighbors, but if you're talking about construction workers, then I get John and tell him he's got to talk to his
No, it's
people.
the idiots.
Cars.
It's the guy that's passing traffic, is a through
Well, I
traffic.
mean, you know,
We have noticed a tremendous number of tourists coming down to see what's
Oh,
going
yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah.
We don't think live here, and we can't wait to close that intersection and put them into it.
Yeah,
Because
because
it's just ridiculous.
they'll go past the sign.
wait, there's a lady way
It
over
says,
there.
Don't enter.
Yeah.
You know on Bent Avenue where you have equipment up there and rocks and piles of dirt right by the park, right
That's
by
Utah.
the big.
That's McLeod Gas.
Pardon me?
McLeod Gas is working up there.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a drainage sewer there. Okay? And every time it rains, because it's so backed up, the alley between 4100 Utah and McDonald is an absolute flood. Will this all fix that?
It will fix, but I mean, you know, if it's flooding now and it hasn't, it doesn't
Oh,
hurt
it's
to.
always done.
Oh, it always does?
Always done. As long I've lived there
Oh,
since
well, okay, that's
2005.
that's a different story.
And I've called MSD.
Where are you located again?
4100 Utah.
Okay, that's,
And this is
We think the project will stop that flooding.
that should stop
right on
it.
the alley.
Okay. We got a lady right here, and I hope I did, oh, no, there was a lady back there, I believe you had a question?
Well, my only question is, all right, so when Roger is closed and Oak Hill is closed, we all have vents that come back to go north and south on.
Yep,
Is
have Oak
there
Hill.
any time that you anticipate, I know you said Roger's gonna be open for one lane, is there any time you anticipate Roger and Oak Hill and Bent being closed?
No, no. I remember the city street department, and our plan is to never block anybody in. You will always have a way in and out. It might not be convenient, but it's only, again, for a few more months. So there'll always be a way in and out.
That's what my wife told me, and when I left, she locked the door and I never got back in. Oh, yes.
I live at 4068 on the corner of Oak Hill and Utah. And 2 days ago, someone came through, a surveyor other than MSD, and I'm assuming other than Gershon.
David Mason is,
There's pink stakes that they've spray painted fluorescent pink.
right.
What are those for?
Control stakes, grade stakes, so that we can, that's how we find our way around the project. So we know we're putting things where they're supposed to
Does that
go.
mean where you're going to be digging?
No, in your yard, you have an offset stake.
Let me try to explain. You know, the sewer, according to the plans, the sewer is supposed to go in a design location, and we can show you on a set of plans, but I mean, I think you can understand that without looking at it. It's got a designated spot it's supposed to go. Okay, somewhere or another, Gershenson Company has to know where that location is. So to do that, okay, we hire surveyors to you know, put marks exactly where that sewer goes. Well, if they put the marks exactly where the sewer went, as he's digging,
It's gone.
it's gone. So we put in what we call an offset stake, which means we set it 15, 20 feet to the right or to the left.
The other thing I'll need to mention to him is you're going to need my address about, I have cracks, but they have gotten considerably worse. And I'm picking up all kinds of plaster up where the cracks are falling. So you're going to come in and you're going to say, there's cracks that were already there. Yes, but they're much bigger. And they're getting worse.
At the end of the meeting, come up and say me, we'll exchange phone
And
numbers.
Kelly, anybody that John gets on his cracking issue, we need to know what that is and make sure that it's followed up on, okay? And if folks, when I say followed up, we're not gonna come out here and meet with you, and we're gonna trust Gershenson to satisfy you. If they don't, that's when you call Kelly. Kelly then will get in touch with John, and we'll arrange to come down together to meet with you.
The gas company is already done all the way up through. Now, you were saying you're gonna have that blocked off.
The gas company's only partly done. They're not even halfway done.
Well,
There's
they've done
a
at my
tremendous
house.
amount of gas
They've dug
work.
my yard up, they've run their plastic line, they've changed the
The regulator?
meter to the outside rather than on the inside.
You know, that brings up an interesting
all
point, because it's been mentioned a couple times. You know, Gershenson is responsible to replace anything that they damage. Now, if the gas companies,
Well, they, yeah. Well,
if the gas company's
they
tearing
use
something in your
shovels
yard,
and
that's not
rakes.
Gershenson's problem, okay?
They just use shovel. I'm just saying that they're already done.
Right.
But they weren't down with these big.
Oh, no, well, they weren't,
They didn't make any cracks.
well, I mean, no, they weren't, and they were installing much smaller pipe, maybe 2 to 4 inch pipe, and they're down only maybe 3
But I
feet.
understood him to say that it's gonna be closed for that long period because of the gas company. The gas company's done. What are they gonna do now?
They're gonna go right up that street right there and,
I would say, John, John has tried to work very cooperatively.
But that's not gonna involve Oak Hill and Utah.
John has tried to work very cooperatively with the gas company and St. Louis Water. However, for MSD standpoint, we cannot say anything about LaCleach gas operation or St. Louis Water Company's operation. John may say they're going to be there for a month. That's fine. Maybe that's what they told John. You need to talk to LaCleach Gas and not depend on Gershenson to give you information for LaCleach Gas.
The gas company was very respectful.
Oh, and I hope that you feel we're trying to be respectful.
Well, I will say something about the trash.
Shouldn't be trash.
They're leaving all kinds of bottles and cups.
That's true.
And
Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be.
I mean, I'm picking it up every day. She
Shouldn't be.
across the street, she's picking it up every day.
Shouldn't be.
So I know it's hot out there. I know the guys are probably.
Shouldn't be. John's hearing me, okay? I talk loud enough. He's hearing me, I'm telling you. They shouldn't be leaving trash. They should be picking trash up at the end of the day and
Yeah,
get rid of
it's
it.
just lack of respect.
John's hearing me.
Okay.
Okay? We don't accept that.
And they try to put it in the sewer.
Huh?
They have milk cartons and that, they throw their trash in the sewer.
Yeah, you saw that? Yeah.
I'll talk to John about that, okay? And we'll have to clean the sewers. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, what went on in the alley between Wyoming and Humphrey, 4,000 block, right next to Roger? I'm just.
We installed backflow preventers so that in a heavy rain event, the sewer can't surcharge and flood the basements in that area. Each one of those structures has a valve in it to protect the homes in the lower lying area from being flooded. So that's a very positive part of this project.
Extra line protection, other
Yes.
than your sewer.
Right.
Okay, and is that going to be gravel until everything else gets paved as well?
No, we'll do pavement restoration throughout the project. So in the upcoming weeks, if I pave right away, the ground hasn't settled, then the pavement cracks.
Yeah.
So I have to give the trench some time to settle. So.
Can we possibly wrap this up within the next 5 minutes, because hopefully, because we're going to have to tear down, and 2 of us here need to be out of here by 8:20.
Oh, and, okay, yes.
Yeah, okay, well, traffic being, disrupted on, I'm talking about the 4100 block because that's where I live. With it being disrupted, I have a driveway, and it's real difficult to get out of the driveway with what's happening now. And part of the reason is that the Cleve Gas employees' vehicles are constantly in the way. And I know we have Gershenson and MSD here, are your employees permitted to park in the work site area? I mean, are you guys
We'll try to
sanctioning
keep them away. We want to keep the streets open as best as we possibly can.
Because it's going to get worse than
And
what
if
it
that
is
means
now.
somebody parking, you know, a little bit further away, that's what I want them to do. The foreman is very cooperative with that kind of thing. It's no problem. In fact, everything doesn't have to be a big deal. Go outside and talk to the guys. They're usually pretty polite. You know, at the end of a 100-degree day, you might not want to, you know, go hammer a guy or something, but people, we're willing to move cars, and we want to be polite, but we need to hear from you. Go ahead.
We don't have driveways on the 4,000 block of Utah, so we'll have to be turning around in the street. Will the large pipes and the Komatsu machine still be parked over there? Because that makes it very difficult. Like, the width that those take up is larger than the area that a parked car takes up. I don't see right now how we're going to turn around on the street with the amount of equipment and items that are dug up and barrels and cars parked kind of haphazardly as it is now.
The pipe will be installed, the equipment will move forward up the street, so there'll be some brief periods of time where we remain in one area. But generally, we should be moving forward, just as you saw on the previous block, on the lower block of Utah.
I am on the lower block.
So, and again, if there's things parked in front of your house, I mean, everybody knows, there's not much room for, there was just enough room for the cars. It was convenient for the cars only. You had dump trucks, pipe, truckloads of rock, equipment, it's just,
So is it that hard to mandate that you tell your employees that they cannot park on Utah or on those areas and be out of the construction zone? I mean, it would make things that much easier. It's not that hard.
We don't have that many people parking their cars down there. You got to realize.
MSD's not even on our street yet. It's just with the gas so far, but it's going to get worse.
Oh,
this is a bigger project.
Let me interrupt for just a minute. John, how's big a crew you got?
It's like a 5-man crew, but the gas company has 10 guys. The water company has 10 guys. So
he's got 5 employees that are going to be driving, okay? And, I think, it's reasonable to say, hey, don't park, 15 blocks away or 10 blocks away or something like that.
I know you guys have no control over the other companies, but you have control over your guys and your company.
But they should be, I mean, they're going to be parking on the streets in the area where the work is going on. I mean, that's only reasonable to assume. We're talking, 5 pickup trucks, and maybe they're not all driving pickup trucks.
Right, but we're asking, can they park somewhere, not within the site, That's what we're asking. Can your guys park somewhere besides the site? I mean, we're already being, I know they do this for a living, and it's fine.
I can't talk for John, okay, but I mean, I don't think we're gonna wind up, I think, right?
Yeah. But I was gonna mention, John, McDonald Park, then the next building up towards Morganford is that huge international trucking company. It is vacant.
Wonderful
And there's a
place.
big lot in between McDonald Park and the building that perhaps they can use, and that could be work as a compromise.
I will talk to the foreman and ask him to keep our cars parked away. But I actually know what our guys drive for the most part, and I haven't seen my guys' cars blocking. But if you do, well, just politely ask. Say something. It goes a long way. Politely asking, please. This is
I'm
fun.
politely asking you to politely ask.
And then, I'll talk to the foreman,
But they're not his guys.
A new guy will show up to the job and doesn't know.
Okay, well.
Okay, one last question, that's it.
Okay, this is just a comment from somebody who's been there, done that, and I'm not a Pollyanna, but in 1982, before some of you guys were probably born, MSD replaced the sewer on the 4000 block of Parker. It took them about 4 to 6 months. Parker's a one-way street. We didn't get on a hill. We didn't get to park in front of our house in the middle of the block. So you either drove down from Oak Hill and you backed up, or you backed up from Roger and went down. And it was one of the best things that happened to our block. We're celebrating our 30th Parker Avenue Suicide Party this year. Everybody sat around, we talked to the MSD guys, we drank sodas. I'm sure there's some beer cans in the sewer, in the street when they paved over. And it really brought the neighborhood, the block together. So, yeah, it's a big inconvenience. but, you know, you get really good at backing up your car.
I think the end will justify
Okay, now,
that.
okay, now that's the end of the question, and before we leave, I just want to add, I hadn't planned on this, but after hearing all these questions, I have a few things I would like to add, okay, just to say this. Okay, I heard we're going, and I tell you, I'm going to go back to our office. I'm going to talk to the people that are influential and try to find a way to maybe get a little better notification out to you. As I say, it would be impossible for us to describe everything that's going on this project in a letter. You know, nobody would read it. They think they got, you know, the Dead Sea Scrolls or something. So, you know, it's not going to be that big. I've heard some people complaining, and I understand. And you know, maybe we didn't do as good a job as we did, but you were kind enough to have us here at the meeting, and hopefully now you will understand that Gershenson and MSD want to work as closely with you as we possibly can and be as cooperative as we possibly can. But we're installing some big pipe and it's going down deep. And, you know, so there are a lot of inconveniences doing when you're digging a trench, okay, and laying pipe. That's just the nature of the beast. You've got John's number for Gershenson, you've got Kelly's number, and you've got our inspector's number, Chuck Lowe. Take up, if you got a complaint, call John Kearns first, because if you call Kelly, Kelly's got to call John, because Kelly has no control over John's crew out here. So call John's first. If you don't get an answer that's satisfactory, then call Kelly. Kelly will get in touch with John, and we'll come to something, and if need be, we'll come out. We'll meet with you on the site and talk about what it is. That doesn't say we're always going to give you an answer that you want to hear, okay? Nobody wants to hear that this intersection is going to be blocked for a while. But, hey, I can't change the reality of sewer construction. Now, I've asked everybody if they would be kind enough, we passed out evaluation forms. If you could just return them up here to this table, I'd appreciate it. We always want to improve. And again, thank you for having us here.